Aussie, 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 oi. Aussie is a friend of yours and he's a friend of mine.
G'day kids, Aussie here. Now I know I do look a little bit different, and that's because today we're doing science with Aussie. Today I'm going to show you a really cool but really impressive experiment that you can do at home with a grown-up, of course, using simple ingredients that you can get from your local supermarket. It's going to be fun, so let's get stuck in. Now, as I said, you do need a grown-up, so don't try this experiment at home by yourself. The idea is to sit back, watch the video, learn as much as you can, and then grab a grown-up and try your very own science at home with Aussie. Let's get started. This experiment is called an Aussie high five, and who doesn't love a good high five? Now, all you need for this experiment is 4 main things. Some vinegar, an empty glass jar, some baking soda, and of course, a rubber glove. So what we're going to do today is what scientists, like Aussie, call a chemical reaction. And that's when we take 2 things, like a liquid and a solid, and make a third whole new thing. And today, that's going to be a gas. Pretty much everything in our world is divided into 3 different things: solids, liquids, and gas. Now, solids are things like whatever you're standing or sitting on right now. A bottle, a jar, even Aussie's glasses. They're all solids. Liquids are things like water, orange juice, vinegar. If it's runny and you can pour it from one thing into another, then that's called a liquid. And the third thing is gas. Now, they're a little bit more tricky to explain because you can't actually see them, but they're really important because they keep us alive. The most important gas is what we breathe in, and that's called oxygen. Another gas that's really common is called nitrogen. And one that we're going to create today with our very own experiment is called carbon dioxide. How cool is that? Now, I know there's a lot of tricky information to take in, so if you need to, just make sure you go back and watch the episode again and again, and you'll start to understand the science behind this experiment. And I reckon, just like Aussie, you're going to love it. Anyway, let's stop talking about science and actually make some science. Let's go. So, we're going to start with the liquid, and that's the vinegar. We're going to measure out 300 mils, and this is where you might need a grown-up to help you measure out 300 mils. Just like that. Always put the lid back on in case you spill that bottle. You don't want vinegar going everywhere, do you? So then we're going to pour that into our glass jar. That's step number 1. Step number 2, we're going to put the solid into the glove. So we're going to take our tablespoon, we're going to put 2 of these inside the glove. Just like that. There's 1. And there's 2. Now, step number 3 is a little bit tricky. And this is where you'll probably need help from a grown-up to put the glove over top of the glass jar. So you want to stretch it around like that, and you want to do it really carefully because you don't want that baking soda to drop into the vinegar just yet. Because when you do, that's when the chemical reaction and the science all starts to happen. So you want to get it nice and even and airtight. That's the secret. And to help us with that, I've got some sticky tape. And we're just going to wrap it around to help create that really airtight seal. And all the time, you've got to be careful not to drop that baking soda inside the vinegar. So once you've got a really nice airtight seal using that sticky tape on the glove and to the jar, we're going to lift the glove up carefully, and that's going to release the baking soda into the vinegar, and then the science is going to happen. So watch, just like this, and you'll see that reaction is starting to happen and that's producing the gas, and that makes it stand up, and we're gonna give it a nice high five, and just careful, because it's probably gonna explode like that, but how much fun is that? We've taken a liquid and a solid, we've created a whole new thing, which is gas. We gave an Aussie high five, it went flying. So kids, I hope you had as much fun as I did. That was awesome. Now it's your turn to watch the video back again, take those learnings, grab yourself a grown-up, and recreate a high five with Aussie in your very own home. I reckon you're gonna have lots of fun. Kids, it's been awesome learning some science with you today. We'll see you on our next video, and until then, stay keen. Make sure you get a grown-up to help you hit subscribe. That way, you won't miss out on any of the new videos that come out. And did you happen to find the hidden Aussie icon in that video? Make sure you look really closely, because they're in every single video. And we'll see you again soon. Until then, stay keen.
Aussie, 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 oi. Aussie is a friend of yours and he's a friend of mine.
G'day kids, Aussie here. Today we're going to do a science experiment together and we're going to make our very own lava lamp. Actually, we're going to make 2 lava lamps using 2 different colours. So grab your sister or your brother, invite a friend over and make sure you've got a grown-up to help you with this experiment. Let's get stuck in. This experiment is actually quite simple and you don't need a whole heap of ingredients. You should be able to buy most of these from your local supermarket. We've got some baby oil. You can use any sort of cooking oil if you want, but we like to use baby oil because it's nice and clear and lets the colour shine through a whole lot better. Speaking of colour, we're going to need some food colouring. And you can use any colours you like, but I'm going to use my 2 favourite colours. Do you know what they are? That's right, green and gold. Then we're going to need something called Alka-Seltzer, which is just like a fizzy tablet. We're also going to need some water, and then the other things we've got on the table here are bottles, or you can use glass jars. They can be this big or they can just be small ones if you just want to do a small experiment. We've got some glasses over here and that's what we're going to use to mix the colour in. We've got a funnel so that we can pour all these ingredients into the bottles. And we've also got a measuring cup and a spoon over here. So that's all we need. Let's get stuck in. So once we get all of these ingredients into the bottle, the last step is to put the fizzy tablet in the bottle, and just like magic, our lava lamp is going to come to life. So I'm going to talk you through it and do the experiment at the same time. Why don't you sit back and learn how it's done and get excited about what we're going to make. And then why don't you grab a friend or a brother or a sister, make sure you've got a grown-up with you as well, and you can go back and watch the video again and pause where you need it and make your very own science at home. So let's make a lava lamp. To begin, we're going to measure out half a cup of water into our glasses over here. So we've got our half a cup of water in our glasses, and then we're going to add the food colouring. So whatever colour you like, we're going to add 5 drops of that colour into the glass. So I'm going to start with green. I'm going to go 5 drops. And then for the other lava lamp, I'm going to make it yellow. So we're going to add 5 drops. That's right. Good job, kids. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you count with me? All right, so you can add more or less depending how much colour you want in your lava lamp. Then once the colour's in there, we're just going to give it a stir. There's our yellow one. And we're stirring just to make sure that that colour is evenly mixed into the water. So there's our green and our gold. We're just going to move those to the side. So the next step is to add our oil to our bottles. Now we've got pretty big bottles here and we want to make those about 3/4 full. So we're going to use our funnel and pour our oil just like that. All right. And I reckon that's just the right amount. So then we're going to do the same with our other bottle because we're making 2 lava lamps at the same time here, kids. You can make one at home by yourself or you can make multiple. So we've got our oil in there. They don't have to be an exact measurement, but about 3/4 full is good. Okay, so the next step is to pour our coloured water into the bottles. So we're going to need our funnel again for that one. And we'll start over here with our gold or our yellow colour. Now when we pour that in, we want to make sure that we leave enough room at the top so that when those fizzy tablets are in there, it doesn't bubble up and spill out over the top. All right, so we've got our yellow in there, and now we're going to go for the green colour. Now you can see that as I pour those colours in, the water and the oil stay separate. That's because oil, the clear, is lighter than the water. So the water, because it's heavy, sinks to the bottom. And that's the science happening. Now, the last step, this is where the magic happens. We're going to take our fizzy tablet and we're going to just break it up into smaller pieces. And you just drop it in bit by bit. Just like that. So as I drop these tablets into the lava lamp, they start to dissolve at the bottom and they create what's called carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is lighter than the water and lighter than the oil, so it rises to the top. And as it rises to the top, it takes some of those droplets of the coloured water with it. When those bubbles get to the top, they pop and that coloured water gets heavy again and drops to the bottom. And that's what creates all that movement in there. And that's what making these turn into lava lamps. Now you can experiment with how much of these fizzy tablets you put in. I've still got half here, so I'm just going to hold that off because the yellow one, there's a lot of activity happening in there. The green one, if we just keep it with 1.5 tablets, you can see a lot more of those bubbles happening. So you can just try different things at home. But how exciting is that? We've made our own lava lamp, but it's not really a lamp, is it? Because it's not glowing. There's no light. So what do we need to make it a lava lamp, a real lava lamp? Light. Good job, kids. Okay, so I've got 2 little lights, and they're just little LED lights, which I got from the supermarket. And so we're going to put them like that. We're going to turn them on and put the lava lamps on top, and then the light is going to shine up through. So you just switch them on like that. And we're going to rest them gently on the lights. And how cool is that? And I've still got some fizzy tablets, so I'm going to add it back in here. And that's how cool this experiment is. You can just keep adding more fizzy tablets, and that's going to bring it to life and reactivate it again. Should we switch some lights off and really see them glow? Let's give it a try. How cool is that? So we've made our very own lava lamps. And if you wanted, you could have another couple of these bottles and have all these multiple colors of lava lamps lined up in your very own home. And once the bubbles start to stop, you can add more fizzy tablets and that's going to bring them back to life again. How cool is that with the lights off? We probably need them back on. So we're back in the light. We've got our lava lamps. You can just look at them for ages because they're actually quite mesmerizing. They're really good fun. And then once those bubbles start to die down, you can just add more fizzy tablet and that just basically turns them back on again. So I hope you have lots of fun creating your own lava lamps at home. Make sure you send me a photo because I love seeing what you create with your science experiments. Kids, enjoy yourselves, keep experimenting, and until next time, stay keen. Make sure you get a grown-up to help you hit subscribe. That way, you won't miss out on any of the new videos that come out. And did you happen to find the hidden Aussie icon in that video? Make sure you look really closely because they're in every single video. And we'll see you again soon. Until then, Stay keen.
Aussie,
Make sure you get a grown-up to help you hit subscribe. That way, you won't miss out on any of the new videos that come out.
Aussie, 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 oi. Aussie is a friend of yours and he's a friend of mine.
G'day kids, Aussie here. Today we're going to do some science with Aussie and we're going to learn how to gain superpowers just like Elsa from Frozen. I'm serious. We're going to learn how to turn water into ice right before your very eyes. This is called Aussie's Frozen Superpowers. Now let's start this super ice cool experiment. Now for this experiment, you're going to need a bottle of water. You're going to make sure that that's unopened. You're going to need lots and lots of ice, and crushed ice works the best. Then you're going to need a metal ice bucket, lots and lots of salt, 100 mils of tap water. Now we've also got bits and pieces over here, because with that water that we turn into ice, we're going to try and shape that into a snowman. We're not quite sure how big we're going to be able to get this ice and how good this snowman's going to work, but hey, we're going to give it a go. So let's get stuck in. Now, the first step is to take some of that crushed ice and just pop it at the bottom of that metal ice bucket, just so it covers the bottom. Okay, then we're going to need 5 teaspoons of salt. It's a lot of salt. 5. So much salt. Now, we're going to take that bottle of water and we're just going to get that sitting in there like that. Now, we're going to get some more ice and we're going to just pack it in all around that bottle. So all around the sides, as much as you can get in there. And once it's almost full, we're going to put more salt. That's right, so much more salt. So another 5 teaspoons. 1, and just spread them around. 2, 3. I always get stuck after 3. What's after 3? 4. Good job, kids. And after 4, 5. Good job. Okay. Now don't put the salt away just yet, because we need more. We've got 100 mils of water here, and we're going to put, how many teaspoons do you reckon? Did I hear you say 5? Yeah. 5 more teaspoons. Five teaspoons. Okay, we're going to mix that together as much as we can. And then just pour that in around the bottle. Scrape that salt in. Okay, then with whatever ice you've got left over, just jam pack it in there, as much ice as you can possibly fit in there. Just keep packing that ice in as much as you can, because you want to try and get that bottle as cold as we can get it without it freezing. Okay, so I don't think I can fit any more ice in there. That's ready to go. It just needs to sit there and do its thing for 30 minutes. So we'll come back in half an hour and we'll get stuck into the experiment. So there you go, kids. That bottle has been sitting in that ice bucket for just over half an hour. And at the same time, I've had this plate sitting in the freezer for just over half an hour as well. Now I've brought that out with an ice cube on it, because that's what's going to help us turn this water into ice right before your very eyes. So very carefully, we're going to pull this bottle out of the ice bucket, trying not to disturb the water inside, because we don't want to start that ice freezing reaction too early. So really carefully, now take that lid off. Okay, now we're all ready to turn this water into ice right before your very eyes. Aussie's Frozen Superpowers. Let's see if it works, kids. So really gently, we're going to pour that onto that ice cube. And look at that, kids. Look at that. Look at that. Woo! That is magic. Happening right before your eyes. Woo! Look at that, kids. So, with our little bits and pieces over there, we can build ourselves a snowman. I'm just going to pour a little bit more water on top of that. Look at that, getting nice and tall. Then we can shape it. And add some more on top. Just a bit of magic like that, kids. Look at that. Instant ice. That's pretty fun, isn't it? All right, should we see if we can put some arms on this snowman? Oh, that's a long arm, isn't it? That's okay. And one arm on the other side. Two big long arms for the snowman. Should we add some more water at the top and see if we can make a head? Let's see what we can do. That's a funny looking head, but it's okay, isn't it? Let's put some eyes on him, shall we? Maybe if we pop that in there like that, and then put some more water on it, maybe that'll freeze that eye into place. Look at that. That's pretty magic, isn't it? We've got a one-eyed snowman, don't we? One-eyed, no-nose snowman. Maybe we should give him another eye. Let's do that. Okay, just gonna pop that there, and we'll do that same thing we did before. Just pour a little bit more water. And look at that. A little snowman just floating around on the plate. Isn't that cool? You could maybe take some learnings from Ozzy and make his arms a little bit shorter. But kids, that is how you take normal water and freeze it like that with your very own frozen superpowers, just like Elsa. Isn't that awesome? Now, it does look like magic, but of course, there is science behind it. I'm a scientist, of course. So the trick to this experiment, kids, is using super cold water just before freezing point. Now, when you add salt to water, that allows the water to go below freezing point without it even freezing. It's super clever. So that's why when we set up this ice bucket, we put heaps and heaps of salt, because that allowed that water to go below freezing point, below 0 degrees Celsius, without actually freezing. Now, when water turns to ice, crystals are formed, but keeping it in the water with salt doesn't allow those crystals to form. So when we open the bottle really carefully and we pour it onto that ice cube, which is super cold, that water instantly starts producing the ice crystals when it hits the cold surface, and that's why it looks like we've got magic superpowers, because that water turns into ice crystals and freezes immediately. So kids, that is a super fun experiment. It's a little bit messy and it's super cold, but it's lots and lots of fun. I hope you guys have had some success with your experiment at home. Did you manage to get some eyes and a nose on your snowman? Kids, keep experimenting, keep having fun, keep watching Ozzy. We'll see you on the next video, and until then, stay keen. Make sure you get a grown-up to help you hit subscribe. That way, you won't miss out on any of the new videos that come out. And did you happen to find the hidden Ozzy icon in that video? Make sure you look really closely, because they're in every single video. And we'll see you again soon. Until then, stay keen. Don't forget to follow Ozzy on our social channels @Ozzy for Kids. Feel free to send us some ideas on what you want to learn about next.
what sports you'd like to play, jobs you want Aussie to feature, vehicles you're fascinated with, or any subjects you'd like to know more about. I'm just as keen as you, so together, let's learn more. And if you've got any friends that you think might like Aussie, don't forget to tell them too. See you next time, kids. Until then, stay keen.
Aussie, 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 oi. Aussie is a friend of yours and he's a friend